Judges chapter 9. Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem to his mother's brothers and spoke with them and with the whole clan of his maternal grandfather. He said, "Please ask all the men of Shechem, which is better for you, that all 70 sons of Jerubbaal rule over you, or that one person rule over you? And remember that I am your blood relative." His mother's brothers spoke to all the men of Shechem and said all this about him, so that they followed their feelings and supported Abimelech, arguing, "After all, he is our brother." They also gave him 70 pieces of silver from the temple of Baal-Berith, and he used them to pay good-for-nothing thugs to follow him. He went back to his father's house in Ophrah and killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, all 70 of them, on a single rock, except for Jotam, Jerubbaal's youngest son, who stayed alive because he hid himself. All the men of Shechem and all Beit Millo got together and went and made Abimelech king at the oak by the cult pillar in Shechem. When they told this to Jotam, he went and stood on top of Mount Gerizim and shouted, "Listen to me, you leaders of Shechem, then God will listen to you." Once the trees went out to choose a king to rule them. They said to the olive trees, "Rule over us." But the olive tree replied, "Am I supposed to leave my oil, which is used to honor both God and humanity, just to go and hold sway over the trees?" So the trees said to the fig tree, "You come and rule over us." But the fig tree replied, "Am I supposed to leave my sweetness and my good fruit just to go and hold sway over the trees?" So the trees said to the grapevine, "You come and rule over us." The grapevine replied, "Am I supposed to leave my wine, which gives cheer to God and humanity, just to go and hold sway over the trees?" Finally all the trees said to the thorn bush, "You come and rule over us." The thorn bush replied, "If you really make me king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the thorn bush and burn down the cedars of the Lebanon." Here's the point. Have you been honest and straightforward in making Abimelech king? Have you been fair with Jerubbaal and his household and treated him as he deserves? My father fought on your behalf, risking his life, and rescued you from the power of Midian, and now you are rebelling against my father's household. You've killed his 70 sons on a single stone and made Abimelech, the son of his slave girl, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. I say this, if you are dealing honestly and righteously with Jerubbaal and his household today, then may you enjoy Abimelech, and may he enjoy you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech and burn up the men of Shechem and Beit Millo, and let fire come out from the men of Shechem and Beit Millo and burn up Abimelech. Then Jotam fled, making his way to Beer, and he lived there for fear of Amalek, his brother. Abimelech was chief over Israel for 3 years, but God sent a spirit of discord between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, so that the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. This came about so that the crime against the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might be avenged, and the responsibility for their bloody death be placed on Abimelech their brother, who murdered them, and on the men of Shechem, who helped him kill his brothers. So the men of Shechem sent out men to ambush him on the mountain tops. They robbed everyone who went past them, and Abimelech was told about it. Gaal, the son of a slave, came with his brothers and went on to Shechem, and the men of Shechem put their trust in him. They went out into the field, gathered their grapes, and pressed the juice out of them. Then they held a feast and went into the house of their God to eat and drink, and there they insulted Abimelech. Gaal, the son of a slave, said, "Who is Abimelech? Think of the contrast with Shechem. Why should we serve Abimelech? Isn't he the son of Jerubbaal? Isn't Zubal his officer? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem. Why should we serve Abimelech? If I were in control of this people, I'd get rid of Abimelech." Then, addressing his words to Abimelech, he said, "Come out and fight. I don't care if you make your army even larger." When Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of a slave, he was enraged. He sent messengers to Abimelech and Tormah with this message, "Gaal, the son of a slave, and his brothers have come to Shechem, and they're inciting the city against you. You and the men with you should come up now at night and lie in wait in the field. In the morning, get up early, as soon as the sun rises, and attack the city. Then when Gaal and the men with him came out to fight you, do whatever you can to them." Abimelech and all the men with him came up by night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 groups. Gaal, the son of a slave, went out and stationed himself at the entrance to the city gate. Then Abimelech and his men rose from their ambush. When Gaal saw the men, he said to Zebul, "Look, there are men coming down from the mountaintops." Zebul answered, "You're seeing the shadows of the mountaintops as if they were men." Gaal said again, "Look, there are men coming down from the main hill in the land, and one group is coming on the road from the fortune teller's oak." Zebul said to him, "Where's your mouth now? You said, 'Who is Abimelech? Why should we serve him? Aren't these the people you despise? Go on out and fight them." So Gaal went out, leading the men of Shechem, and fought Abimelech. But Abimelech gave chase, and Gaal took to flight. Many fell wounded, strewn all along the way to the city gate. Then Abimelech took up residence in Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gaal and his brothers, so that they could not live in Shechem. But the very next day the people went out into the field, and Abimelech was told about it. He took his men, divided them into 3 groups, and lay in wait in the field. When he saw the people going out of the city, he came out of a hiding spot and slaughtered them. Abimelech and his group rushed forward and occupied the entrance to the city gate, while the other 2 groups attacked all those in the field and killed them. Abimelech fought against the city all that day, captured it, killed its people, destroyed its building, and sowed its land with salt. When all the men in the fortress at Shechem heard about this, they took refuge in the stronghold of the temple of El-Brit. Abimelech was told that all the men from the Shechem fortress had gathered together, so he led all his men up to Mount Zalmon, where he took an axe in his hand, cut a branch off a tree, and laid it on his shoulder. Then he said to those with him, "Quick, do just what you saw me do." They all did likewise, each man cutting off his branch, and they followed Abimelech. They put the branches up against the stronghold, set them on fire, and burned down the stronghold, so that all the people from the Shechem fortress died, about 1,000 men and women. Then Abimelech went to Tevetz, set up camp against Tevetz, and captured it. But there was a fortified tower inside the city, and all the men and women took refuge in it, everyone in the city. They shut themselves inside, and went up onto the roof of the tower. However, when Abimelech approached the tower, attacked it, and then came up close to the tower's door in order to burn it down, a woman dropped an upper millstone on Abimelech's head, cracking his skull. He quickly called out to a young man holding his armor, "Draw your sword and finish me off, so that the people won't say a woman killed me." So his attendant ran him through, and he died. When the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they all went back home. This is how God paid back Abimelech for the wrong he did to his father in murdering his 70 brothers. God also repaid the men of Shechem for all the wrong they had done. On them came the curse of Yotam, the son of Jerubbaal.